far as percentage-wise, how much do you think you lie?
I'll have to say about 15-20%.
Yeah, no more than 20%, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say for me, I would say I would think maybe 10%. I feel like I don't lie that much. I try to stay away from it. Not that I don't, but I try not to.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it surprises me that your guys' number is higher. I feel like that's higher than what I thought you all were gonna say. But I guess that would be more honest. I guess I'm lying.
You're lying right
You're
now.
lying about your percentage.
No, I feel like I mean, I don't know. I guess it's the way we see it, also how
Hmm.
you feel about it. Hi, I'm Ida,
Hi, I'm Noodles. Hi, I'm Musica.
and this is Bluntly Talking. I've always had an issue with the term a little white lie.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, so there's this Catholic channel,
Catholic
and
channel.
yeah, there's a Catholic channel. I used to watch it when I was a kid, and there was this. I wasn't even that much of a kid. I think maybe preteen or teen. And this show, it was a nun who had this show, and I don't remember her name. And one of the episodes that just really stood out for me, I remember, was when she was talking about lying. And she mentioned that about little white lies, that there was no such thing as a little white lie
That's a lie.
because it's a
I'm kidding.
lie. Yeah. She was like, you know what? It's a lie. There's no white, there's no little white lies, there's no little dark lies. And then she said how in the Bible with the Ten Commandments, it says thou shalt not lie. It doesn't say thou shalt not lie except if it's a little white lie. Like the way she was explaining it, it was so funny because I was like, like she's right. She's, it doesn't say on there thou shalt not lie for the big things, but it's okay for the little things. It just the word lie, thou shalt not lie, and then it's just all lies. It doesn't even give you an example. It's just all lies.
Yeah.
Uh, which of course made me feel like shit because I think maybe that's when I started thinking about that because that made me feel like shit because I was like, oh my god, she's right. Like a lie is a lie is a lie. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go to hell. Of
Yay, we can
course,
roast marshmallows together then.
for reals. Of course, now I realize. Oh, sometimes it is necessary. Sometimes, you lie maybe to spare other people's feelings. Hence the how do I look? You look great. Although some people might argue that, well, you need to be honest because, whatever. But I get it. I get it. I do think that sometimes, the other day we were watching a show, and in the show, the father was actually kind of having an issue with that because he found out his father lied to him when he was a kid
Hmm.
about a signed baseball, and his dad had lied because he told him that the baseball was signed by like this, big time baseball player. But in reality, the dad signed it himself. The dad signed it himself and gave it to his son when his son was a kid. And the son like kept it this whole time thinking, but then when he found out the truth and he confronted his dad, and the dad said, "Well, I did it to make you feel better. Like I didn't know the baseball player. There was no way of me doing that. So, and then he kind of spiraled into a thing because he was saying, "Well, I'm not gonna lie to my daughter." But then it was Christmas, and so the daughter was asking about Santa Claus, and he was kind of like, "Oh shit!" And the daughter's like 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So, it was kind of like they explain, obviously at the end, it's kind of like, well, sometimes lying is, like, you do need to, like, in those instances, like, that's a lie, but, it's kind of like you have to, I feel now, again, back when I saw that show, the Catholic one, it did, they do make you feel like that, but they don't tell you that it's I feel like it's circumstantial. It's definitely not black and white. It's not like that. It's not the way thou shalt not lie and then that's it.
Lying just to get your way, or to like make yourself look better, or just to be like, oh, like I'm, to benefit from a certain situation, then I don't agree with that, because it's like, what purpose does it fill you? Like, I've heard so many people say like, oh, like it makes me feel good and everything. It's like, yeah, like for how long before you have to start lying again?
Mhm.
And I think that's where kind of it can spiral out of control, and you can become too addicted to that.
I feel like my biggest lie is I'm okay. Because in reality, who's going to sit there and tell you really how it's going? Or, I don't know. So I feel like that's a very common lie.
True. It also reminds me, like, when we're talking about, like, lying and truth telling and everything, that it reminded me of that movie. I want to say the title's called The Man Who Invented Lying.
Oh, or is it The Invention of Lying?
The Invention of Lying, yes. Where,
Yeah.
again, it's like in a different universe and everything's the same. The only difference is, like, for some reason, like, humans are unable to lie. Like, they always tell the truth.
They're brutally honest. Yeah.
Yes. So freaking brutally honest, and it's crazy. And I think this one time, because like he has to pay a bill, he has to pay his apartment, and
The rent, yeah.
his rent, and I think like he only had like 200 and he need 800. And I remember he was telling his friends like what if, like, he was trying to explain lying, like, well, it'd be good like if we could just say this and it became true. But everyone's like, but that's not true, is it? Like, but like they're having a hard time to understand it, so they just accept it as truth. And like he actually ends up lying to the bank teller, saying he has what he says he had 900 and he needs 800.
Yeah.
And the bank teller, she sees into his bank account, she sees he only has like 200. And she's like, oh, you only have 200. And he probably thinks, fuck, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to be in trouble. And she's like, I'll fix that for you. Because, you're obviously telling me the truth that you had 900 and we misplaced it somewhere. And so she gives him 900 in his account and takes out 800.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is both crazy and amazing, but also like scary, because like, okay, think about it. All of a sudden, like, you wake up in a world where everyone is brutally telling the truth, but you yourself understand that you figure it out, like, for some reason none of them know the concept of lying, and you decide to lie a little, and it could get out of hand, like, and especially, like, as someone who's always okay with just lying, whatever, like, can you imagine how scary that'd be? Yeah. Telling them, oh no, I'm actually a billionaire, oh no, I actually own this company, and the CEOs are there like, but we own this company. It's like, no, I own the company. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're mostly telling the truth. Why else would you say that? Like, right. That has, I mean, like, yes, as a childlike way, it's like, oh my god, like, it's, like, oh my god, like, this is a fun game, whatever. But as grown-ups, like, that has to be very scary, because he does test it out. There's a point where he sees a very pretty girl, and he asks her point blank, like, would you ever sleep with me? And she literally tells him no, like, not if he was the last person on earth. So he decides to test his lying ability and says, like, we have to sleep together. The world's gonna end if we don't. And she panics, and she literally does try to sleep with her, but he feels guilty because he's like, no, like, I was joking, like, I wanted to test something. Again, like, he tries to explain it to her, but she's not getting it. And so finally he tells her, like, you know what? Like, you just talking to me like this is nice, and that did it. We saved the world. And she's all happy. She's like, oh, yay, good. She gives him a hug and a kiss, and she walks away. And I'm just like, God, if it were anyone else, they probably would have gone all the way or done worse.
Right. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think they did that because of the movie. Which is, I'm glad because I like that movie actually. That's one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. So that, I guess in that movie, it does. It shows you, we go back to, I think everyone lies, but there are several degrees, several levels of lying, right? Because I do feel that in order for society for us not to kill each other, I mean, I think sometimes lying is necessary in cases like that.
I think one I would consider as a necessary, like you said, was like again in the movie, his mom, his other mom, she's dying, and I think he goes to visit
Hmm.
her because they tell him that we think she's not gonna live, like past the night. So he goes visit her, and again he's still newly invented of lying, and she tells him that she's scared, she doesn't want to die, like she's afraid it's gonna be painful, it's gonna be nothing, that she's just gonna close her eyes and that's it.
Hmm.
And I remember, which I do think is very sweet that he does. Like he lies to her and says that she's not gonna be in pain anymore, that she's gonna be somewhere magical, somewhere where she'll be forever happy and not have to worry about it anymore. And that one day they'll meet again. And I remember he says this in front of the nurses, the doctors, and they all start crying because they all think like somehow he knows this. Again, like they all think it's the truth. But again, I think to like, no, he's telling her like a necessary lie to make her feel better and not be scared of death.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like in cases like that, it is necessary,
Mhm.
and that's when I think, okay, so it's not all black and white. It's not like, you're not going to go to hell for something like that if that's what you believe.
No, yeah. I think it's necessary like when you're trying to protect someone's feelings or you don't want to shatter like kids' innocence too early on.
So then this is where I think the line sometimes gets crossed, right? When people sometimes, for example, like this, well, I wanted to protect you, not to hurt you. Okay. And then I think that this is where people who lie there's different reasons, right? There's people who lie just to be malicious. There's people who lie obviously to get something out of it. And so it got me thinking a while ago. I've had this topic that I've been wanting to kind of talk about because, as we were saying earlier, there's a lot of pathological liars that, I mean, I've met that I know since, since birth, basically. I didn't know that they were pathological liars because I don't know about you all, but my first instinct, I just always believe people. I guess I'm just gullible that way. So it does, now, I think now that I'm older, I'm wiser, I catch on now pretty faster than I used to.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about pathological liars. So I looked it up to see exactly what that means. Pathological liar is someone who compulsively lies without a clear reason and often continues to do so even when it causes problems. It's just literally someone who lies all the time.
For no good reason.
Yeah, lies and lies, and we're talking about something as simple as a ride to the store. And this person will feel that they need to elaborate, you know, of something that happened on the way to the store, even though it was an uneventful trip.
Mhm.
That's kind of like the brief explanation, it's not, that's the difference between an everyday lie. Some of these people also who are pathological liars will also have other characteristics, such as elaborate stories, they avoid accountability, their behavior is consistent. Some of them might have narcissistic tendencies. I don't know, but there's different levels, but that's, sooner or later, if you're around them, sooner or later you will see, you
It's
know.
not easy for them to continue the lies because sometimes they get mixed up.
Mhm. That
And
or
they
they'll
don't
just
know
make
what
it
it means.
more elaborate to the point that everyone's like starts to question it.
Here's the thing, right? Once you start lying, you have to continue lying
Hmm.
because these people they don't like to get caught. And they will do anything they can to not get caught, which that means that they will continue lying. So it's going down this path, right? So if a lie starts with one thing and then it just continues and continues because they have to lie to cover up their other lie.
That's just crazy. I wonder if like any of them ever get tired. Cause that sounds tiring to me. Like to continue up that lie, and not only that, but like to somehow either find a way to stitch it all together, or like try to remember like, oh, I tell this person one thing. Do I need to tell this other person the same thing, or can I change it up? You know,
Yeah.
Hmm.
like to keep track of it all. That just sounds very tiring.
So I'm gonna tell you guys a story, right? And I don't know if I should change the names to the story or just not say names. What do y'all think? What would be funner?
I think change names.
Ooh.
Oh crap! Okay.
Yeah, I want to change names.
Okay, a true story, but the names have been changed to not hurt the, the whatever you call it.
To not expose our identity or anything like that. Yeah.
All you gotta do is literally just Google pathological liars, and Google, wonderful Google, will give you a lot of information on it. And so I'm reading here that it says duration, like how long, right? And it's pathological lying is a chronic behavior that can last for years or a lifetime. It often starts in adolescence or young adults. You know how I said earlier, like usually, I mean, when I don't really have to doubt people because again, like because I'm not like that because everything that I say is not a lie. I just assume, which I know what they say about assuming, but I still do it, that people are the same. Okay. So this happened years ago and we were driving, we were coming home and we had Timmy with us in the truck. Okay. And then Timmy is about, I would say maybe 6 years old.
Hmm.
And we're driving down the road. Timmy was sitting between your father and me, your father and I. And Timmy starts telling us, oh, um, I met my dad. Timmy, by the way, at this point, did not know his real dad.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, really? And I'm thinking like, why wasn't I told about this? Why had nobody informed me? And I'm like, you did? You met your dad? And he goes, yes, I met my dad. I'm like, how? Like, tell me okay, well, how did you feel or what happened? And I remember your dad and I were looking at each other like, whoa, like this is huge news, right? Because it
Hmm.
was like, Timmy didn't know his dad. And so Timmy went along and started telling us that his real dad went to visit them at the house and got in a fight with his, it's a complicated backstory, but I guess, let's say his stepfather. And I was like, oh my God, what? When I tell you that this little boy went into an explanation with great details about how his father went to that house and this other man and they started fighting and like me and your dad were like, oh my God, what the fuck? Why didn't we know about this? I thought, oh, well, his mom probably was embarrassed, didn't want to tell us the story, but I was like, whoa, but this is huge.
Hmm.
This is a huge thing. And so we left it like that. A couple of days later, when I saw Timmy's mom, I brought it up and I was like, hey, so why, I didn't know that Timmy met his dad. And she was like, what? What are you talking about? Anyways, long story short, none of that happened. He didn't know his dad. The fight never occurred. Like everything that Timmy went like, and I am telling you, when I tell you that Timmy went in great detail about this, I was shocked. And I think that was the first time, because Timmy's mom is also a pathological liar, by the way. But this was the first time that it dawned on me like, oh, wait, what? And other people had told me before that Timmy sometimes did this, but I never believed it. I didn't want to believe it.
Mhm.
But this was the first time that I was like, holy shit. First of all, great storyteller, because I tell you, your dad and I fell for it. I was shocked. I was shocked, and I think that was the first time that I kind of sat back and I thought, huh, well, why? Because Timmy's small. Like, Timmy is still young. I mean, like I tell you, I think he was maybe about 5 or 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all little kids lie. I guess you could say that. All little kids lie. Again, we talked about this, but the way that it was done, and I've kept my eye on it since, because several years passed, and I would notice the pattern, and I would notice how a lot of the stories were very elaborate,
Mhm.
right? I'm talking about something always happens. Something, and I honestly, at some point, I even started believing like, well, shit, I must lead the most boring life because with these type of people, something, if they take a ride from here to the store, they're gonna witness car accidents, they're gonna witness hijacking. Like, I am not kidding you. They're gonna you know what I mean? Something. If they're at the store, people will always come up to them and say, like, something will always happen to them.
Mhm.
And I tell you, for a time, I used to think like, damn, because none of that happens to me. Like, and it could be something, like I said, as elaborate as fighting and cops and this involved, to something as simple as, well, I was standing there and this man out of nowhere, started making these comments. Like, I don't know, just weird, stupid things, really. And that's the difference from a pathological liar to, God, I guess I'm doing air quotes, like normal lying, I guess. I don't know.
I've always wondered like why, but I've said it before that it's like there's a part in their brain that just didn't fully develop to give them that like, oh wait, this is wrong. You shouldn't do this.
Well, I have a friend, a BFF.
You have a friend?
Yeah, just one friend.
I'm
Thank you very much,
kidding.
Musica.
I'm kidding. No, I love you. You are very much loved.
I'm gonna go cry in my corner now.
Oh, just leave your weed.
Well, now I know what I'm good for. No, but so I have a friend that I've known for many years. And this friend, she's a pathological liar. And it took me not that long, actually, to find out, because at the beginning I did believe her everything. It's been years. It's been years that I've known my friend. She's, like I said, she's my BFF. We're comfortable with each other where I can ask questions about being a pathological liar. So when this happened with Timmy, I kind of wanted to like know the brain, like what goes in your mind, like why. And so I remember I asked her. I told her the story and I told her about other several lies that I had caught Timmy in. And I said to her, I said, well, as a professional pathological liar, what is your professional opinion on this? And it was actually really interesting. She said, well, yeah, she said, this definitely sounds like he's lying. And she said to me, I'll never forget this, and this is always in the back of my mind. And I think this has helped me, I don't want to say cope with pathological liars, but I guess live with pathological liars or having pathological liars in my life, I guess. She said that the reason that she would do it, and that she feels that that's how most pathological liars are, was it was to make her seem more interesting, because she felt that her life was dull, she was boring, and she wants people to find her interesting, and that's really the motivation that she has in saying these elaborate lies, because this way it makes her more interesting, it makes her more appealing, or at least in her mind, that's how she sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could totally see that, because when she said that, I thought, okay, and it's basically like she wants more attention, because you want more attention, and think about it, like, how else are you going to get that attention if I just said, like, my life, I feel like my life is boring because I don't have none of that shit happen to me all the time the way I hear other people talk about.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if I was to put a little story behind it, then people will be like, oh my God, that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood it. I understood when she said that. I thought, okay, I get it. So I don't know if maybe there is something going on, at the biological level or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. But I know that when she said that, that makes sense. So it's not like they don't know, because she knows that she's lying. They know
Yeah.
that they're lying. But it's more. So I understood that. And it doesn't mean that there's no harm. Like here, I'm reading where, again, pathological liars and the impact. Pathological lying can cause clinically significant impairment in social, occupational, or other areas of life. It can also put the liar in danger or cause psychological distress. And I agree with this too. These people, when you're a pathological liar and okay, fine, you want to make yourself more interesting or whatever, we go back to it's a pattern, because you can't just tell one lie. For example, just going back with the story that Timmy told us, Timmy wasn't just like, oh yeah, I met my dad. That was the first lie. But
Mm-hmm.
then it was like, well, how did he meet him? Where did he meet him? That was the
Yeah.
second lie. And then it was like, okay, I need to make this more interesting. Do you see what I'm saying? So then
Yeah.
and then I again personally know of pathological liars, and where it does impact their life. It impacts their work life. Why? Their work life, their social life, their personal life. Why? Because people are not stupid. It might take us a long time. Maybe I feel in my defense why it's taking me longer is because, again, I don't want to think the bad of someone when I first meet them. I really don't. I want to see the good in people. And to me, it's like, well, who am I to be lied to? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
So in my mind, but then after so many things, again, people catch on,
Mm-hmm.
and that ends up impacting your social life, you know? Because I know me, I don't believe anything now coming from the people that I know that are pathological liars. There's nothing that they can tell me that I ever believe.
Yeah. Like now it's more like you're more caution about it.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And I might pretend, and maybe I'm lying, I guess I am lying, but I pretend like, oh, like I'll listen to the stories, but I don't believe it.
Anyone that I've known that is a pathological liar, and someone else that I know that knows that they're constant liars, like later on they go away like to the restroom or like we part ways, and I'll turn to the person like, so how much of that was true or like BS? And they'll tell me like, oh, well, they changed this and that, but as far as I know that this part is true. Everything else is a lie, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, okay, that's what they did.
The pathological liars, their behavioral traits, they have common characteristics such as tendency to tell elaborate stories, avoid accountability, and exhibit inconsistent behavior. Their impact on relationships explain, pathological liars, it affects their relationships. They cause trust issues and emotional strain for those involved. I can definitely vouch for that.
Me too.
Hmm.
Like as much as everyone probably thinks like, oh, I don't know a person like that. It's like, trust me, 9 times out of 10, you will know. Either you will personally know a pathological liar, or you'll end up knowing someone who knows a pathological liar.
Right.
Besides, personal family and everything, I have to say my first time ever with someone outside was during my middle school and some of my high school years. And oh my god, this girl. Like, to give privacy a bit, we're gonna call her Sarah. And
Okay.
apologies to anyone who actually is named Sarah. I do love your names. I just my character's in the desert and I just automatically thought Sarah. I'm so sorry. So no, yeah, I remember the first time she ever told me in middle school, I want to say like barely a year I knew her. And the first time she ever told me and my friends, like she told us like she straight up thought she was pregnant. And we all started freaking out thinking, oh my god, she's in middle school. We all asked
Oh
who the
my
dad
god.
was. She lied to us, said like it was some guy in high school, because around the time they had barely finished building the high school. And we're like, a high schooler? She's like, no, yeah. Like she said, like it's some guy that she knew on her street, and he's in high school, and then she always kind of liked him. They hang out, and she actually told us another lie saying like how he shared a beer with her, that they got drunk, they did it, they swore they'll not talk about it, ever do it again. They haven't seen each other. She found out she's pregnant, and we're over here freaking out. I'm over here telling her like she needs to go tell the guy, tell her parents something. She's freaking out. She's like looking close to crying, which again looking back on now, it's like bravo for keeping up that act. Like holy shit. But I want to say like we all started questioning it about nearly 3 to 4 months later, because around that time, because first of all, she's petite. She is skinny as a freaking stick. And again, if anyone's ever known or seen a pregnant person around 3 to 4 months, they start to have a bit of a bump. And I was like, is she okay? Like, is it not developing right? Did it die and she's not telling us? And I remember I pulled aside one of my other friends. We're gonna call her Mai, and I said, Mai, like, is this right? Like, shouldn't she be showing a little bit? She's like, no, yeah, I questioned her about that too, and she says like it's underdeveloped. And I'm like, this early on, underdeveloped. She's like, yeah. I was like, no, like, wouldn't it be dying then? Like, we all started questioning her. And a week later, she told us she had a miscarriage. And we're like, okay, like, I guess that's the end. But like, it left us a lot of questions. But as kids back then too, the teenagers, we got over it, got into the next thing. A month later, she tells us again, I'm pregnant. Some of us are freaking out. Me, on the other hand, because again, I grew up around with family members.
Masters.
Yeah, like people like to know how to make a more elaborate lie, I guess. Like, I questioned it faster. To me, I was like, are you really pregnant? And she's like, yes, I am. It's like, have you done a test? And I remember this was sealed it for me forever. And she's like, I don't have to. It's my intuition.
Oh my god.
And I was like, and I thought of me like, you're not pregnant. You just want to say you are. And I was like, okay. Because I remember like where we lived, we were just down the street of a gas station. And at the time, they started to sell pregnancy tests. And I told her, you know what? Come over to my house. I'll buy you a pregnancy test. We'll convince my mom, and we'll do you a test. She started freaking out. She's saying she doesn't want to because then it's going to get to her mom somehow. And she's going to get caught and she's going to get in trouble. And I'm over here saying, like, no, like, we're good at keeping secrets. You know, we'll keep it from her.
Mhm.
And she didn't. And again, a week later, she said she finally took a test and it turned out it was wrong. She was just late.
Oh
And
my
she would do this
God.
like every other month. It became a running joke in our friend group. We all started betting when she would tell us. 5 times out of 10, I'd win and I'd get candy out of it, and I was happy. Yeah. Finally, I think she caught on, like in middle school, like in high school, that we all started betting when she got pregnant, because I think one last time she told us that she was. And my friend, May, bless her heart, like she would always believe her every now and then. But I think this time she kind of believed her because, you know, she's like, oh, we're in high school, we're more mature, she's more mature. And I just kept on looking at her like, yeah, sure, she's matured. And, you know, she was just wanting to believe her. And I kept pressing her and pressing Sarah, like, are you really pregnant? Please, like, just freaking tell us once and for all. And finally, I guess that she got annoyed because me and May were almost about really literally to fight over this, like, she is or she isn't. She's like, no, I just wanted to see what you guys' reactions would be.
Oh my
And I looked
God.
over at her like, you see? And from there on, we all just started kind of to like ignore everything that she would say to us.
That's so annoying.
It is, honestly. And to me, it's like, I remember like hearing other people who did actually come out to be pregnant. Like, I would start questioning it. And I feel bad when it came out to be the truth that they weren't pregnant. And I'd be like, I feel bad I doubted them. But it's like, I can't help it now. Like, every time I
Yeah.
heard, like, oh, did you hear about this person and they might be pregnant? And it's like, they're probably not. Like, that's my
Right.
first reaction. And I do feel bad, but at the same time, it's like, after having a friend like that for so many years, it's like, I just now doubted everything until I saw some form of proof in some way.
Mhm.
Hmm. I was gonna say, I feel like for me, it's just one of those now I don't really anyone tells me 100% to be true. There are those people that I'm just like, I believe them 100%, but they've earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now it's if I don't see some proof, if someone can't back you up 100%, then yeah, like you don't get 100% belief out of me.
Yeah.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
be there and like support you, whatever, but like I'll just let you talk. Now listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, if anything, be like, hey, you heard what this person said to me? Like, it's another interesting topic.
Nah, I don't even talk about it. I'll keep it to myself, and if someone else brings it up, then I'll be like, oh yeah, I heard about this. Me, I'm just like, if I don't know 100% myself, like I wasn't there to witness it, then there's only so much I can believe.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person too. Like I'll let people talk. I'll let them talk. I'll let them tell me their stories. I don't care. I'll listen. It's sad because those are not healthy relationships of any
Mm-mm.
kind. So, how do we identify? What are some red flags for, someone who maybe doesn't know, or like you're thinking that someone's a pathological liar? Some of the red flags are consistent lying, right? Pathological liars lie frequently, intricately, and persistently. They may lie about things even when there's no reason to. That's the one. That's the one that for me is like, yeah, when there's no reason to lie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't understand. Like, I can kind of
Yeah.
get, like, if you're gonna lie to get yourself out of something, I understand that, I guess. I could understand the motivation behind that. But when you lie just for no reason, but that's again, that's the pathological liar. You watch out for inconsistencies in their stories.
Another way you could tell, like, if that person's a liar is by, like, asking someone else, like, you know that they also talk to besides, you know, like, with you, and, like, ask them, like, hey, has this person told you about this or that? And, like, And that they're like, oh, like they kind of did, but they told me about this and that, and that's how you know, like, okay, like maybe they're starting to lie right there. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
like everything they say, like I imagine it's a hard way for them to like keep up with what even they're lying about.
For sure. If they give multiple responses to, like, if they give an elaborate response to something, more than likely they're lying.
Mhm.
Lack of remorse. Pathological liars may lack empathy and have no sense of the consequences of their lies on others. They may react to being accused with denial, rage, or shock.
Sarah was kind of like that. Whenever we all caught her in a lie or didn't really give her full attention or believe what she was saying, like she would throw a tantrum. It was
Hmm.
so effing annoying.
Yeah. And also just to say, like, this isn't, not all of them have all this because, again, I know some pathological liars that they'll pretend like, oh, believe me or not if you want. Like, that's the sign of a good pathological liar.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Someone who will make you question, like, huh, okay. But again, it's not a, I mean, look at the big picture, you know?
Yeah.
They become defensive. Pathological liars
Defensive. That's a
may,
difference.
yeah, may get defensive when confronted about a lie. They embellish lies. Oh my God, pathological liars may tell dramatic and highly unlikely stories with extensive details. Yes,
Yeah,
that
I agree
one.
with that.
Mhm.
They have more details than what anyone else would really remember. Like,
Hmm.
No, yeah, and then they'll claim like, "Oh, my memory's that good," and it's like, "No, your story's that good."
Yeah. They pass off other people's stories as their own, you know,
Mm.
and acting in ways that don't match their words. Pathological liars may act in ways that don't match what they're saying. The last thing that says here about red flags, it says pathological lying can be a sign of narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissists can be very convincing when they lie and often experience pleasure from lying. What about, how do you deal with it? How do you cope with, because okay, I'm gonna say this right out. I am very happy because I'm almost 100% sure. I would say 99.9% sure that my close inner circle, meaning your father and you two, are not pathological liars.
yep.
Am I?
And
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, no, you're right.
and so from that, I feel like now this is gonna, it's my, because the reason that I'm saying this is because I think that you two have had the experience of, again, and I'm not saying that I've never lied, and I'm not saying that your father has never lied or that you two have never lied. This is not, again, like at the beginning, we were differentiating from a pathological liar to, I guess regular lying.
Hmm.
But what do you say to people who have their personal circle that there is pathological liar in there? For example, if you have a parent or a sibling,
Mm.
So I'm going to read off just something really small for coping strategies. It says here, just emphasize the importance of setting boundaries and seeking the truth. That's literally all it says here.
Nah, yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure because like I've read so many Reddit stories and seen so many YouTube stories where, again, like people in that situation where it's family, cousin, mother, father, siblings, or even a friend, and they're like, what I do, because like again, like their rose tinted glasses have been ripped off now, and they can see that, and again, like they have some, like for some, it kind of somewhat works because like they still want that person in their life, and I guess because like they're so used to telling them whatever, like they'll do whatever they can to try to keep them in their life.
Mhm.
And in some cases, like I wouldn't say it's a fix, more like it's a step to where they could be like comfortable enough to be around each other a little bit, you know?
Mhm.
And others, it'll be to the extreme where they're like, no, it's either my way always or no way at all. And in
Mhm.
those extreme cases, like, I'm just gonna say right now, cut them off. Because if they're not willing to change, cooperate, amend, or even be okay with them knowing that no matter what they say to you will never work again, then it's like just cut them off. Because like they rather have you play the fool forever rather than know that whatever they say to you will never work again.
I think if you want to keep them in your life, you have to basically get used to like calling them out on their BS because I don't think they're gonna stop otherwise.
Mhm.
And then even when you start calling them out, like that's gonna be the new pattern for you guys because they won't like they're incapable of it, you know.
Mhm.
So and maybe it's not true for all, you know. Maybe they will change if I don't know something happens, but um. But I think it's just either you have to be okay with knowing that you can never really trust what they say, and if you're willing to put up with that.
Mhm.
I think it's better to just cut them out, but unfortunately, sometimes there are people that are rooted so deep with you that it's hard. But, that would be the best thing for you to do, to just cut them out.
I think that there's maybe three possible things you could do. The first one is learn to live with it. If you want that person in your life, again, we're talking, and I'm talking about relatives, like parents,
Hmm.
siblings, even children, even your own kids. That's who I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe possibly spouse. But even I think the reason I'm saying is about relatives is I think it's harder to kind of like it's harder for people to cut off, a parent or a sibling or a child.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I feel because this is what's kind of worked for me is where you just kind of you already identified yes, this person is 100% a pathological liar. So it's either okay, I'm gonna keep this person in my life. Let's say a parent. Let's say it's your parent. Okay. I mean, obviously, you're still gonna want to communicate with them, but you have to know that everything that comes out of this person's mouth, it's gonna be a lie, and you're just gonna have to go along with it and kind of entertain their stories. For example, me. Okay, I have made a conscious choice to keep my best friend in my life. Not the way it was before, but I know that when I talk to her, that it's all lies. And I kind of entertain her because I still want this person in my life because she's like, what's that? She's my BFF. And I'm okay if she wants to tell me all these stories because if to her that makes her feel better, it's not hurting me. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's if it's not because it's not hurting me.
Hmm.
But then and so far the way I've navigated like that, it's worked. Not only with her but with other pathological liars in my life. But the second thing is that I've just recently been working on is boundaries. Set boundaries.
Hmm.
You have to, again, if it's somebody that is in your life and you want to keep them in your life, but you know that they're pathological liars and you know this, then you can set boundaries and maybe not see them all the time. Or what you just said, or call them out on it. Like, hey, I know that this isn't real. Like, that's
Hmm.
not gonna make them stop. I'll tell you right now.
Oh no, it won't.
No, that's not gonna. All it's gonna do is either they themselves will keep their distance from you and will know that they, okay, we can't, they're still gonna try, but that's basic, that's really all. Just know that what they are, and just kind of like, as long if it's not hurting you, just okay, whatever, entertain it. But if none of those, honestly, the way I see it, if none of that is helping, then cut them out. Cut them out of your life.
It's how you said before, like there's different degrees
Mhm.
of pathological lies. Like there's some like who are so entertained by this, like again with well the person I knew, Sarah, like she at first I think she was like just wanting attention. But at some
Mhm.
point her lying became very bad for us because I admit we were slowly kind of phasing her out. Mostly because like we were just tired of her lying always. But I'm not sure if she thought like one last hurrah or something. I had no idea what went through her mind when she did this, but she wanted to try to get two of my friends to fight each other physically. And
Yeah.
I remember like it was with May and another one of our friends. Let's call her Lisa. She tried to get May and Lisa to physically fight each other. And I remember because May came up to me, she was pissed, and she said like, "Oh my God, you not believe what I heard, what Lisa what she was saying about me." And I'm like, "What? Like what she say? Like what she say to get you this mad?" And I thought like maybe it's a misunderstanding. I could probably help fix it. So she told me that apparently that she heard that May was going around saying how um pretty much like saying like how like she was lying saying how Lisa was a chicken and how like she is terrible and pretty much saying bad things about her. So I went to go up to talk to her and ask like, hey, like I heard this, like what's going on? And then she got mad. She turned around and she's like, no, that's not what I heard. I heard the opposite. And it's like, well, what did you hear? And so she told me that it was actually the opposite. That apparently she heard that May was saying that stuff about her. And I'm going back and forth between the both of them. And finally, I decided to get them both to sit down to talk with me in the middle, even though I'm pretty sure I knew like if those two were to actually physically fight, I would no way in hell be able to tear them apart because I'd probably get killed in the middle.
Dang.
And as I got them both to sit down and start talking to each other, it turned out that it was Sarah that they heard this all from. Because I think finally at the end I was like, okay, like where did you both hear this from? Like who was the main person? I didn't just go around saying because I talked to all our other friends and they've all heard it from both of you. And they both said Sarah, and I'm like, the fuck? It's like, so you're telling me you both heard it from her, a girl that we all know who loves to lie.
Mhm.
And I could see where both of them were kind of wanting to be like, okay, yeah, she has a point. But like they were still kind of mad, and I pretty much got them both to admit that neither of them said that shit, and to both kind of forgive each other. And I was like, you know what? Let's all confront her in the hallway and ask her what the hell is going on. So I did, and at first she tried to play it off like nothing, like she didn't say it, like she heard it from someone else in our group. And I said, no, I talked to everybody. They all either heard it from these two, and these two heard it from you, and now I'm hearing it's from you. It's like, what the hell's going on? And I don't know, I guess like she just felt like we were no longer playing along or something. She just went like, ugh, fine, no, yeah, it was me. I told them both a lie. I just want to see these two fight, see which one will win. They both got pissed and they wanted to kick her ass. And honestly, I was about ready to let them, but I was like, first of all, we're in the hallway. Anybody could walk by.
Yeah.
Second, I was like, you know what? F this shit. I was like, you know what? we're dealing with you, but now no more. You're out of our group. Please go away. And she made it seem like it was no big deal, but she was very upset. I think for the last year, she was jumping from different groups. But nobody would ever welcome her because everyone knew that she was a liar. And everyone knew, separately, but kind of similar, her mom was crazy and her mom was also a pathological liar too. Like, everyone knew to stay away from her. And I tell you, like, you gotta be careful with them because, like, they could be harmless at first. You know, they're just like wanting someone to always pay attention to them and listen to their stories. Or it
Mm-hmm.
could turn like that all of a sudden. Like, they'll just be like, you know what? I just want to see the chaos.
Yeah. No, and that's what I'm saying. I definitely do think that if it's something that you, if it's unhealthy, if it's to that extent, definitely you need to get away because people that are like this narcissistic, pathological liars are not going to change. There is nothing, there's no help for them. They could go to therapy, they can go to therapy, and I mean, they might be able to try to change. But it's like an addiction. It's like when you're addicted to something, it's a lifelong commitment to stay clean. It's the same thing with pathological liars. It's there. It's always going to be there. Can
Hmm.
they? I do think that they can try,
Yeah.
but you know, you as a person there with them, like I said, you either kind of have to start brushing it off, set boundaries, or just cut them off completely.
Yeah. If you don't want to cut them off, keep them at a distance. Don't believe everything you hear from them. Always question it because if you just follow them blindly, they won't stop. Just protect yourself. Don't let them like take you down basically because they
Yeah,
will try.
you know, good luck. May the odds ever be in your favor.
No, yeah, honestly, like, it's like how I was saying, like, be careful, be vigilant, and like I said, like, if you can surround yourself with other people like that know that they're lying, because this way you could fact check each other and keep each other like reminding each other like don't always fall for it.
Anyways, you guys, I am Mita, and thank you to my co-hosts, Misika and Noodles.
No, yes, thank you for having us.
And this is Bluntly Talking, you guys. We're gonna be back tomorrow for Witch's Corner. Yay,
Whee!
Whoop whoop.
yay! But yeah, if you guys like these type of conversations or content, like, subscribe, follow, forward, anything that you can help us with will be highly appreciated. Yeah, thank you guys. Bye.
See you
Bye.
laters.